You've got guts, kid! After laughing, Ray Zhang's expression turned cold. It's been a long time since I've met someone so fearless about dying. Enough with the crap. Pay up, Dustin said impatiently. He was already in a bad mood. He had no time for pointless back and forth. Hee. Looks like you won't cry until you see the coffin. Ray grinned viciously and signaled to his men. Get him! Break his arms and legs! I want to see how long he can keep running his mouth. Yes, sir! Several assassins charged forward with blades raised, attacking fiercely with deadly intent. Wait! You just promised to let him go! Snow Murong shouted. Miss Murong, I said I wouldn't kill him. But if he's asking for it, don't blame me for teaching him a lesson. Ray sneered. However, before they could finish speaking, a sudden chorus of screams rang out. The assassins who had rushed and dropped to the ground as if struck by lightning. They lay there, paralyzed, unable to move a muscle. Looking closely, to their horror, a silver needle had appeared in each of their necks. What? Ray's eyelids twitched as he became instantly alert. He was familiar with acupuncture and poison needles, but to see someone take down multiple enemies instantly from a distance with flying needles, that was beyond anything he'd ever witnessed. He even knows how to use flying needles? Yunadong was equally shocked. Flying needles were a type of hidden weapon, but far harder to master than most. It wasn't just about talent. It took years of relentless, disciplined training. Who the hell are you? How dare you interfere in my business? Ray narrowed his eyes and slowly drew his blade. Pay. For damages, Dustin said flatly. You're dead. Enraged, Ray suddenly flung a handful of lime powder at Dustin, trying to blind him. Using that moment of distraction, he lunged forward with a vicious stab. This dirty trick had worked many times before. He had taken down opponents far stronger than himself with it. But Dustin didn't dodge. He simply waved a hand, and a gust of force blew the lime dust away. Then, with a flick of his fingers, 2 silver needles shot out with a swish. One pierced each of Ray's knees. Thud! Ray collapsed to his knees, the knife clattering to the ground. What? His face turned pale in shock. He blinded his opponent, but the man still landed those shots with pinpoint accuracy. What terrified him even more was the fact that his legs now felt like they were filled with lead, completely immobile. Your skills aren't much, but you sure love cheap tricks, Dustin said as he stepped closer. A terrifying pressure, like a mountain, bore down on Ray. He began gasping for breath, drenched in cold sweat. Don't do anything rash. We've got no personal grudge. No need to go that far. Ray stammered in panic. He thought everything was under control, until this wild card appeared. We didn't have a grudge before. But now we do. As Dustin spoke, he flicked another silver needle into Ray's neck. Ray shuddered violently. The hand he had just raised suddenly froze in place. Inside his sleeve, a hidden poison dart glinted with a black sheen. Young lady, this one's yours now. Kill or torture, up to you. Dustin casually brushed the dust from his clothes and sat back down. The girl had guts. He didn't mind lending her a hand. Wow! Big brother, you're amazing! Snow Murong beamed with joy and awe. She had lost all hope just moments ago, but the seemingly ordinary clinic owner had turned out to be a master of hidden weapons. In just a few moves, he had brought down the entire enemy force. Humph! Hidden weapons are just underhanded tricks, not real martial arts. Yunadong scoffed. As a proud member of an ancient martial family, she looked down on those who relied on stealth and ambush tactics. She herself had only been seriously injured earlier because of a sneak attack. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. She picked up a blade from the ground and held it to Ray's throat. Talk! Who sent you? We're just mercenaries. Paid to do a job. We don't ask who the client is, Ray said through clenched teeth. Still playing hardball? Yuna snorted coldly, then slashed the tendons in his arms and legs. Arg! Ray howled in pain, sweat pouring down like rain. I really don't know. My big brother handles the contracts. I just follow orders. Still not talking? Yuna pressed the blade between his legs. If you don't tell me now, I'll cut off your little buddy down there. She pushed the blade forward. No. I'll talk. Ray panicked under the pain and pressure. We were sent to kidnap Miss Murong Bai. Before he could finish, his whole body convulsed violently. His eyes bulged, and with a puff, he vomited a mouthful of black blood and collapsed dead on the spot. He's dead? Yuna's pupils shrank in shock. He was just talking. How did he suddenly die like that? As she was processing it, Ray's abdomen began to swell, as if something inside was violently struggling to get out. Moments later, tiny black spiders began crawling out of his navel. Dozens, then hundreds. In no time, the floor was crawling with them, a dense black mass. What are those things? Snow Murung shrieked and backed away in terror. Interesting. Dustin chuckled with a glint in his eyes. To control insects from hundreds of miles away with just a spell. Whoever's behind this kidnapping plot, they're definitely not ordinary. Yuna Dong turned her head, looking suspicious. I know a little, Dustin replied with a nod. Only dark and twisted people dabble in venomous curses. You really aren't any good person. Yuna suddenly raised her sword and pointed it at Dustin, killing intent surging. Speak! Who are you really? Yuna! What are you doing? Big Brother saved our lives! Snow Murung quickly stepped in front of him. Snow! Step aside! This man's origin is unclear. I must interrogate him thoroughly. Yuna said sternly, her eyes sharp. Before you interrogate me, maybe you should go get your head checked first. Dustin tapped his temple. Do you even know that curses techniques can also be used to cure diseases and save lives? Sure, there are evil users, but that doesn't mean everyone who practices it is bad. It all depends on the user's character. Besides, those so-called martial arts family you speak so highly of, have they done any less evil? Pillaging, plundering, assaulting, countless crimes. Nonsense! You're twisting logic to justify yourself. Yuna shouted angrily. Twisting logic? Dustin sneered. Look at your actions right now. Is this how people from martial arts family repay kindness? With a sword? Yuna was briefly speechless. Yuna, stop it! If Big Brother really had bad intentions, why would he have saved us just now? Snow Murung frowned. Humph! Who knows what he's scheming? Maybe he has other plans. Yuna muttered stubbornly, though her tone was still firm. Her voice had softened a little. Clearly, she was starting to feel guilty. Just then, a loud rumble of engines came from outside. Moments later, over 10 armored Hummers pulled up neatly outside the clinic. As the car doors opened, dozens of elite guards jumped out and quickly surrounded the area. Great! Reinforcements are finally here! Seeing this, Snow Murung's face lit up with joy. Snow! Yuna! Are you two all right? A tall, handsome young man strode in first. He had a strong build, sharp eyes, and an intense aura, clearly not an ordinary man. We're fine, thanks to this Big Brother who stepped in just in time. Snow Murung smiled. Oh? Is that so? The young man, Hong Xiao, looked Dustin up and down with a scrutinizing gaze. Snow, faces can deceive. When you're out in the world, you'd best stay away from unfamiliar people. Huh? Snow Murung frowned. What do you mean by that? Nothing. Just a friendly reminder. Hong Xiao smiled faintly, while also gesturing to his men to clean up the mess. All right, Snow. This place isn't safe. We should return now, and Yulan is waiting. Yuna Dong began to urge her along. Even though reinforcements had arrived, it didn't mean they were completely safe. Big Brother, thank you for today. I'll come thank you properly another time. Goodbye. Snow Murung gave a polite farewell, then turned and left. Young lady, Dustin suddenly said behind her, your strange illness has been suppressed for too long. I suspect it will flare up soon. You must seek treatment early, or it could threaten your life. When he had touched her skin earlier, he noticed that her body temperature was significantly lower than normal. Combined with her pale complexion, he could tell something was seriously wrong. Humph! Nonsense! Yuna Dong scoffed, clearly not believing it at all. Thank you, Big Brother. I'll be careful. Snow Murung smiled sweetly and waved goodbye. Watching them laugh and chat together, a flash of jealousy passed through Hong Yao's eyes. After Snow got in the car, he turned back to Dustin and gave him a cold glare. Kid, here's a piece of advice. Don't ever appear in front of Snow again. Or you might lose that dog life of yours. With that, he turned and left proudly. In his eyes, a ragged-looking guy like Dustin wasn't even qualified to speak with him. Psycho, Dustin muttered, shaking his head. He couldn't be bothered and simply went back to drinking. That evening, atop the mountains at Kirin Villa, Snow Murong sat at the table, sipping herbal soup while excitedly telling her parents about everything that had happened earlier. Dad, Mom, that big brother is amazing. Just a few moves and all those bad guys were down. Bam, bam, just like that. Snow Murong was beaming with excitement, even gesturing with her hands to reenact the scene. Really? I didn't expect such a talented young man to be hiding in a small place like Jiangling. Bring him home sometime. I'd love to meet him. Her mother, Dong Yulan, responded with a warm smile. Humph. And you still have the nerve to smile? Her father, Murong Cheng, slapped the table, face full of authority. How many times have I told you not to sneak off and play? If you hadn't been lucky today, you could have died. Dad, it was just an accident, Snow pouted. Those guys were too despicable. Poisoning and ambushing people. Yuna let her guard down and got hit. Otherwise, who could have possibly hurt me? The world is dangerous, and people are unpredictable. No one plays fair. Murong Ching huffed. Anyway, you're not to leave Qingyun Villa for the time being. Got it? All right, I won't go out anymore. Don't be so fierce, Snow said, pouting and trying to act cute. Enough! I won't argue with you. Go lie down on the jade bed and rest properly, he ordered. Okay. Snow didn't dare disobey and obediently returned to her room. Due to her strange illness, she had to follow her parents here to Qingyun Villa every year for seasonal treatment. Only when her condition stabilized would she leave. Yulan, has the Xianzhu fruit from Medicine King Valley arrived yet? Murong Ching suddenly asked. If I remember correctly, it should be on the way. Why? You're worried? Dong Yulan asked curiously. Snow's condition has been flaring up more frequently lately. The jade flame bed here at Qingyun Villa doesn't seem to be working anymore. We'll have to try other methods, Murong Ching said gravely. How could this happen? She was doing fine before. Dong Yulan frowned, concerned. Don't worry too much. I've already invited the medical sage, Sun Miao Xian. Once he arrives, he should have a solution. Murong Ching forced a slight smile. I hope so. Dong Yulan nodded thoughtfully. Her daughter's strange illness had plagued them for years, still without a cure. All they could do now was hope to make it through this crisis safely.
Just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to never leave, and now you're gone. Can't believe I can feel the world slipping away as you slowly fade from my everyday. You promised forever a love without end, but now I'm left broken, struggling to mend. I thought we were so tight, destined for a lifetime, love with no end, love with no end. Staying in my imagination, memorizing the past time, the secrets, the love, the care, now they're echoes in the air. I still see your face in every place.